I'm excited to welcome you to the absolute best video on JavaScript prompt you'll find anywhere on YouTube. In this video, I cover everything you need to know in detail and use interactive animations, beautiful illustrations, and professional editing to ensure you remain engaged in order to maximize your learning. So let's jump in. So what is prompt? Prompt shows a dialog box in the browser that asks the user for input and returns the entered text as a string. It looks like this. We use the prompt keyword, followed by a set of parentheses, which enclose a message as a string, like enter your name. So let's check this out in the browser. So in the browser, I'm going to right-click Inspect and click on the console to open the JavaScript console. So let me type prompt, open brackets, and I'll type enter your name. I'll close the bracket and hit enter. You'll see now a dialog box appears inside the browser, which allows me to input some text. I'm going to put my name, Daniel, and click OK. And you'll see inside the console, I'm returned my name, Daniel, as a string. Now, what's more useful to do is actually store the value that we're capturing from the user inside a variable, so we can use it in our program. So to do this, we assign prompt as a value to a variable like this. Let name equal the prompt. So by doing this, whatever value is captured from the user by prompt is then assigned to the variable name. So let's check this out. I'm going to clear the console. I'm going to type let city equal prompt, open brackets, enter my message, which will be enter your city, end the string, close the bracket, and hit enter. So I get the dialog box, enter your city. I'll put London and click OK. Now I'm getting back undefined because what we executed here is a statement. That is, we're just assigning a value to a variable. Logic is being performed, but no return value is provided. So we're just given back undefined. But you can see when I now type city, we've successfully captured some user input and stored it in the variable city. Now, just a very important note on prompt. Prompt is mainly used when first learning JavaScript to take user input. But in real web applications, forms are used to collect data, which is a more advanced topic. So right now in our JavaScript journey, we will be using prompt as it's a nice, easy way to capture input from users. But you would never use this on a real-world web application. Data is always collected on the web page inside forms. For example, on my favorite internet game, the country we're guessing is not inside a dialog box. It's being entered in this form element on the page. So just a small note, we're going to be using prompt at the start, but as we move through the course and learn some more advanced topics, we will be capturing user input on the web page itself using forms. Now, something important we need to realize is that input values are strings. Most inputs in JavaScript are received as strings, even numbers, so they must be converted to number types to use them properly. Just to show you what I mean, inside the JavaScript console, let's go do let age equal prompt. What is your age? I'll hit enter. I'll enter the age 34 and click OK. When I access the variable age, you'll see this is actually a string. The number 34 looks like this. It's in this purple color, and there's no quotation marks. So when we're collecting user input using prompt, whatever value we entered is stored as a string, even a number like 34. The reason this is a problem is that if I tried to work with 34 in our program, I'm going to be doing calculations with a string. And I really need to be doing calculations with a number type, not a string type. So parseInt, which stands for parseInteger, is an easy way to convert strings to numbers. ParseInt is known as the parseInteger function. It takes in a string value, like the string 35, and the string is converted to a number. That is, the number 35. Now, parse is just a fancy word for breaking down and processing data. So parseInteger is saying we're going to process the string and convert it into an integer. That is a whole number. So let's go play around with this inside VS Code. So I've gone ahead and set up an index.html file where I've linked a JavaScript file, app.css, which is currently empty. So we saw before when I did let age equal prompt, what is your age? Whatever number I entered gave me back a string. So to solve this, what I'm going to do is wrap the entire prompt in parseInt. So I'll do parseInt and have the prompt inside the parseInt brackets. So the way this executes is that the prompt will run, it'll ask me for my age, which will be 34 as a string. The string 34 is now inside these brackets, like this, and this will convert it to the number 34. which will then be assigned to the age variable. So let's check this out in the browser. You can see I get this dialog box. I'll enter my age, 34, and hit OK. I'll open up DevTools, and I'll look for the variable age. And you can see this is now stored as a number, 34. This means I can now use the number type 34 in calculations I'd like to perform in my script. We'll be looking at calculations soon, but just as an example, I could do age plus 1. So the age variable is now correctly storing 34 as a number, allowing me to easily perform calculations. I'm just going to refresh the page so the dialog box appears again. Something to be mindful of is that when using parseInt, only the integer part of a number will be stored. So for example, if I enter 34.5 and click OK, and then access my age, you can see only the integer part 34 has been stored. If you want to store decimal values as well, you need to be using parseFloat. Float means a floating point number, and it's just a fancy word for a number that contains a decimal. So I'll refresh and try this again. I'll enter my age 34.5. I'll come to age here, and you can see this is now stored the decimal part of the number as well. So just be aware that if you're expecting to take in decimal numbers, you should be using parseFloat. So let's wrap up the theory by building a summary card, prompt and parseInt. We started off by looking at prompt, which we can use to get user input as a string and store it in a variable. It looked like this, where we used the prompt keyword and had parentheses wrapping our message, and whatever value is captured is stored as a string inside the variable name. We then looked at parseInt, which converts a string to a number. It looked like this, parseInt, followed by parentheses, wrapping an integer, that is a whole number. And we also saw we could use parseFloat to convert a string decimal to a decimal number. Now that you've mastered the theory so far in this video, it's important to understand how we can apply it in a real-world project. If you haven't been following along in other parts before this, I recommend you download the starter files in the description below and code along with me. This project is part of my JavaScript full course. You can join me for free on YouTube by clicking the video appearing in the top right now. So let's now go and apply prompt to our BMI project. In the previous video, we set up variables, and now it's time to add user input with prompt. So let's jump into VS Code and add this to our project. So at the moment in our BMI project, these values are what are called hard-coded. A user isn't entering any of these values in their browser, they're hard-coded inside the JavaScript file. But for this application to work in the browser, we need to be able to capture these values from users. So to do this, I'm now going to use prompt to get those values. I'll remove 80, and I'll type prompt, enter your weight, and end with my semicolon. Now weight we want as a number type, and we know this is going to give us a string. So I'm going to use parseInt and wrapped prompt with that. This will now capture a string, and the string will then be converted to a number using parseInt. I'm using parseInt as I am expecting whole integer numbers for weight. I'm now going to copy this and remove height and replace this with enter your height. Again, we want height as a number, so we need to use parseInt here, and I am expecting height to be a whole number. For gender, we want this stored as a string, so we don't need to use parseInt. So I'm just going to copy this part of the code and replace the string M. I'll write enter your gender as M or F. For BMI category, this is a variable which we are not capturing from the user, but will be defined later in the program depending on different conditions. So I'm just going to leave that as it is for now. So let's go check this out in the browser. All right, so we have enter your weight. I'm going to put 80 kilograms. Enter your height. I'm going to put 175 centimeters. And enter your gender as M or F. I'm going to put M for male. So opening up DevTools, I'm going to go to the console. Let's go confirm these values have been captured correctly and assigned to the variables. I'll type weight, and great, we have weight as a number. You can see there are no quotation marks and it's in purple, telling us that 80 is a number type. Let's look at height. It's 175, and gender is the string M. So you can see now, using prompt, we're able to capture user input instead of hard-coding it inside our script. If you've enjoyed this style of teaching and are looking at mastering JavaScript, you can join me in my JavaScript full course, which is available for free on my channel. The course is designed for complete beginners and covers everything you need to know to code JavaScript at a professional level. In the course, you'll experience the same high-quality teaching and build a whole range of real-life projects from scratch. Join me today and also make sure to subscribe to the channel to stay in the loop with new releases. See you in the JavaScript full course.